After you complete Letter from a Birmingham Jail #1, you are then supposed to go to Common Lit and you are supposed to complete the Supreme Court's ruling in Brown versus the Board of Education. Now, this assignment has a definitive date, which means that it will be due on a certain date. And if it is not finished on that date, you will have a 0 without further discussion. Okay? Um, this assignment can be read aloud. Okay.
The Supreme Court's
And you can also make annotations in your work as well. Okay, please remember to choose the best answer for this assignment. And please remember that it has a definitive date of when it is due. If it is not turned in by that hard date, you have a 0 without further discussion. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to look at a letter from a Birmingham jail, close read #2. We're going to look at number 10, and number 10 is reread paragraph 16. Cite 2 references or allusions in this passage chosen to appeal to King's audience of fellow clergymen. Why are these references well suited to King's audience? Okay, so if we look at paragraph 16, okay, we look at paragraph 16. What you will see is what I did here is I highlighted, annotated or highlighted certain things that relate to the question. So the question deals with allusions and references. And one of the references that Dr. King makes is he makes an allusion to St. Thomas Aquinas. I am saying St. Thomas Aquinas because I am Catholic, and he's a very influential Christian philosopher within Catholicism and within Protestantism. Okay, so one of the things that St. Thomas Aquinas spoke about is an unjust law is a human law that is not rooted in eternal law and natural law. Any law that uplifts human personality is just, and any law that degrades human personality is unjust. All segregation statutes are unjust because segregation distorts the soul and damages the personality. It gives the segregator a false sense of superiority and segregated a false sense of superiority. Now, then he proceeds to talk about a philosopher by the name of Martin Buber, who is also known, a well-known religious, theologian as well, and is known within the Jewish and Christian and Muslim faith as well. Okay, and he also talks about Paul Tillich, who is also another well-known Christian theologian as well. Now, both of these men talk about how, for example, if you look at Martin Buber, substitutes an I in a relationship for an I-thou relationship and ends up relegating persons to the status of things. Hidden segregation is not only politically, economically, and socially unsound, it is morally wrong and unfit. And Paul Tillich has said that sin is a separation, it is not segregation, and accidental expressions of men's tragic separation, his awful estrangement, his terrible sinfulness. Now, all 3 of these are influential Christian theologians who support his point about the immorality of segregation. Okay, now let's look at the next part of the question. The next part of the question asks you, why are these references well suited to the audience? Well, please remember that Dr. King is talking to his fellow clergymen within the city of Birmingham. And if you are a well-educated religious authority, you know who St. Thomas Aquinas is, you know who Martin Buber is, and you know who Paul Tillich is. Okay? And so these people may not be well known within, let's say, a general audience, or what I would like to say lay people, but they definitely would be known to the clergymen within Birmingham, Alabama. Okay. So, what he's trying to do there is he is communicating with a specific audience of people. And that is how it is well suited to King's audience. Okay, I'm going to give you time to write that down. I'm going to pause the video and you guys can write down your answer. Okay, students, now what we're going to do is we're going to look at question number 15. Okay, question number 15 deals with reread paragraph 24. Why King discusses white moderates who were generally sympathetic to the cause of civil rights in his letter, and what implied counterclaim King addresses here. So let's look at paragraph 15. And once again, I annotated certain things that relate to the question. Now, white moderate would understand that law and order exists for a purpose of establishing justice, and that when they fail in this purpose, they become the dangerously structured dams that block the flow of social progress. Actually, we must engage in nonviolent direct action are not the creators of tension. We merely bring to the surface the hidden tensions that is already alive. We'll bring it out in the open where it can be seen and dealt with. Injustice must be exposed with all the tension it creates to the light of human consciousness in the air of natural opinion. So once again, let's go back and let's look at the question. The question is asking why King discusses white moderates who were generally sympathetic to the cause of civil rights in his letter. Okay, so the white moderates may think that King does not refer to them when he is discussing blocks in progress towards civil rights for all. We are not part of those people, white moderates might actually say, right? But actually, they are roadblocks, okay? And they are roadblocks because they think that law and order is fine, right? Law and order is fine as long as it does not disturb the established order. Now, what I mean by that is, let's look at what I highlighted there, okay? That one of the things they spoke about is the tension that Dr. King creates. If you can remember from previous paragraphs, they were talking about the tension that he creates. And once again, Dr. King is discussing that tension again. Okay. And you have to put on tension to remove the established order. And I think one of the things that Dr. King does that is very good that people can relate to is if you don't cure a boil, which is kind of icky, if you don't cure a boil, you're going to have to deal with it again. And you're going to have to deal with it again and again until, you drain it, clean it, get some antibiotics, etc. Okay? So you have to disturb the established order. You cannot put a Band-Aid on gangrene. Okay? There's going to have to be tension. If you want to change things, there's going to have to be tension. And white moderates are standing in the way of that because they just want people to just wait and just not rock the boat. The boat has to be rocked. I'm going to let you guys write down your answers. Okay, let's look at the next paragraph. Reread paragraph 31. How does King shift the idea of being extremist from something negative to something positive? And how does the concluding sentence of this passage directly address his audience? Okay, so let's go to paragraph number 31. Paragraph number 31. Okay, and of course I highlighted things within paragraph 31, so let's look at it. I was initially disappointed at being characterized as an extremist. I gradually gain a measure of satisfaction from the label. And one of the things Dr. King does is he uses parallel structure again. And he says, what not Jesus, an extremist of love? Was not Amos an extremist of love? Was not Paul an extremist for the Christian gospel? Was not Martin Luther an extremist? And Paul Bunyan and Abraham Lincoln and Thomas Jefferson. Okay. And so he uses parallel structure there to categorize himself with these famous religious and spiritual figures and historical figures. Okay. And he also asks a lot of rhetorical questions. And there are a list of rhetorical questions that are there. That are listed there that I highlighted, and I'll let you guys read that on your own. But let's look at the last sentence of that paragraph. Perhaps the South, the nation, and the world are in dire need of creative extremists. Now, what does Dr. King mean by that? Okay, so creative extremists are exactly what the word means. Okay, Dr. King is not unwise. He is not untimely. He is just like these men. He has been put in a place within history to change things and to disturb the established order, which needs to be changed. I'm going to give you time to write down your answer. Okay, guys, we are back. Now, if you have any questions or concerns, please email me at tcollins@ebrschools.org. Send me a message within Remind or GoGuardian or Google Meet or speak up in class. You guys have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.